Brodes Media.
Over the last 7 days or so, there's been a bunch of more Sixers news. I know Shams had a couple of hits on ESPN. Podcast P decided to put a pause on his show to focus more on this playoff run. Honestly, that is so disrespectful. It's not funny. It's not funny. It actually makes me want to punch myself in the face for even thinking that I'd consider putting up with the Paul George contract. It's gross. And we also have a win against the Golden State Warriors to break down. I'm not worried about winning games, okay? And this being a big problem with the lottery balls and this and that. I saw that reaction after Grimes dropped 40 plus. Oh, please with the winning. We're going to screw up all the percentages and blah, blah, blah. You're not going to lose every game. You're not going to lose every single basketball game the rest of the way. How many times throughout the years where we were winning 50-plus games where we'd lose on the road to Washington and say, what the fuck? How did you do that? Well, it just happens. You know how you do that? One of your nobodies goes off for 40-plus points. That's how you do it. You didn't win because Maxey was kicking ass. You didn't win because, you know, superstars were superstarring and they found a way to have consistent success, right? Which is now going to ruin all of the losing for the backstretch of the season. No. You need Grimes to score 50 plus to win games consistently with that particular style. Yeah, you'll be okay. Let's look here at the ESPN piece from Shams reporting on ABC NBA Countdown where the 76ers are, where the big man is, and how they are looking towards long-term health. Take a listen.
You broke the news yesterday, Shams, that Embiid has been ruled out for the rest of the regular season. How ultimately was this decision made?
Malika, this all came to a head over the last couple of weeks. Specifically, when I'm told Joel Embiid went directly to 76ers owner Josh Harris about the state of his knee and about where the realization he's at with what's in the best interest of him, the organization, as far as a potential shutdown. Because remember, Josh Harris owes Joel Embiid up to $300 million over the next 5 seasons. So the backdrop to all this is that over the last month, we've seen fundamental differences between Joel Embiid and the 76ers as far as Embiid believing that he needs a different treatment approach for this versus the 76ers feeling you play on it, get in better condition, and you could continue on this year. This has been a situation the 76ers have been dealing with all season, and they've managed the swelling in multiple different ways, including injections monthly, just to get him on the court. But here they are in lockstep. This is all about getting Joel Embiid back on the court in the best sustainable way, and they are in lockstep about that.
Wow.
All right, so a few things there, and it started off with Joel Embiid went right to the ownership group, went right to Joshua Harris to discuss how he's not thrilled with how everything's been handled. And look, this has been a gruesome process. You know how we keep banging on the table saying, give us info. Will you please let us know what at least is going on so we can have some idea? I don't know if anybody knows. And I'm saying that in a world where they are talking to 10 billion different doctors. They are getting 75 billion different responses. And then maybe with some of the potential routes they can go, it may not have a high percentage to even work. So what is the risk? And should they even go into the knee if there's only, and I'm just making up numbers just to sell the story here, but hey, if we do this to your meniscus, you have an 8% chance. Well, I have a 92% chance that this thing is going to fail. At that point, is it worth my body going through this? And then, you know, some are saying you could do this. Some are saying you can do that. Some are saying rest. Some are saying play on it. Here's what I think is happening. I think they're not getting clear answers from so many different professionals in the industry. And when that's the case, Embiid probably then has to go to the top dog and start talking about this. Another thing that hits me, and look, I don't think Embiid's wrong to do that. I'm sure he's frustrated. Listen, I could only imagine what's being done behind closed doors to try and figure out this knee. You can call Embiid soft, you can call Embiid this and that, but the truth is, history says he's willing to get back on that floor and fight through pain. He's willing to probably get back on the floor too early at times. But you go through a meniscus surgery, the playoffs start, he's right back in the action. He gets knocked in the face, he breaks his orbital bone a bunch of times, he needs surgery on both of his hands. Trust me, he is willing to leave it all on the floor. So if there was an obvious answer, hey Joel, you get this done, you can play basketball at a high level again, most likely that's already finished, completed, and Embiid is back on the floor if it was as simple as that. So I'm sure there is so much frustration, so much sadness, so much this, so much that. And that's not to say Embiid has played this perfectly, because I don't know if he has, quite frankly. And knowing what we know about Joel Embiid, yeah, there's probably things that when you look back in history, maybe if he handled the Shirley Temples or handled the Chick-fil-A milkshakes and maybe did certain things in the offseason, maybe there would be a better result in the postseason to gear up his body properly. But then there's also a part of me that says, here's a 7-foot human being that runs up and down the floor to be the anchor defensively and to be an anchor offensively. And he's a superstar scoring 35, 36, 37 points per game. He drops 70. He fucks up Wemby one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? I can give you a ton of different examples of big men that just unfortunately their body breaks down and there's not much you can do about it. Even if an offseason was different 4 years ago. Maybe there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe this was just how the Joel Embiid experience was always going to go, considering it's not normal for someone that heavy and that tall to put that amount of strain on his legs, jumping up and down nonstop 24/7. So it's very conflicted feelings for me in that regard. But one of the things I think about when I hear that comment, and you're about to hear one from Stephen A. Smith as well, that's fascinating, more about the general manager, Daryl Morey, or I'm sorry, president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey. But I think, who leaked this? Well, that's a Joel Embiid camp leak, right? I think Joel Embiid and his team and his camp wanted the public to know. I want to figure out the long term here. Our goals are in lockstep, that the idea and the concept is to be able to put that uniform on and go compete for my brothers and for the Sixers again. But it's at the point now where I'm not necessarily sure I'm in love with all the information I'm getting from the Sixers. I'm not necessarily embracing all the information I'm getting from certain partners with the team. And I have to go a step further and talk to the owner. That screams Joel Embiid wanted that to be known, that that's where it is. That I'm not necessarily trusting some of the data and some of the potential ideas the Sixers are handing me. This is probably such a sticky situation, though. I'm trying to find the best way to lay this out, but again, I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself. I don't think it's as simple as you go into the doctor's office, they give you a standard surgery, and then you just go play basketball again. I think it's gotten to the point where it's such an unknown, it's such a question mark. I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like, well, yeah, we're not going to like any of it, truth be told, because none of it is good. At the end of the day, I think the best days of Joel Embiid and the operating from the nail and being a force by the rim and defending guards out by the perimeter and stopping 1 through 5, defending every position. I think those days are long gone. And considering how much money he's about to get paid and the extension kicking in, that's a serious issue. Big time. So that's from the camp of Joel, in my eyes. Now let's listen to Stephen A. Smith on NBA Countdown. This was on March 1st. And this is more about Daryl Morey and the front office side of things. Here we go.
There are rumors that owner Josh Harris was very reluctant to sign Joel Embiid to this extension. And Daryl Morey was the one who said, we got to do it. If that's the truth, Daryl Morey is in a world of trouble. And I would remind everybody, Josh Harris doesn't only own an NBA team. He owns an NFL team. Why do I bring that up? Who's his partner? Who's one of his minority owners? Just somebody that happens to be a 5-time champion and the greatest point guard in the history of basketball. What you think? All he's doing is sitting there talking to him about the Commanders. You trying to tell me Josh Harris, a billionaire who purchased an NFL franchise for over $6 billion, has Magic Johnson sitting next to him, and they're going to ask him a question about basketball? Josh Harris has asked me about basketball. So there's no way he has Magic Johnson next to him and ain't asking him.
All right, so there's that. And he continues. There's even a longer version of him talking about that, and I thought I had it bookmarked. But anyway, it's not really that important. The moral of the story here with that is, okay, so now you're getting the Sixers side of things throwing Daryl Morey under the bus. Hey, the owner didn't want to do it. The owner was actually reluctant to sign the big man to all this dough. It was Daryl Morey who was going on a limb. I even got Magic Johnson on my side, who's willing to talk to me and tell me things and share knowledge with me about the game of hoops. Daryl Morey fucked this up. Daryl Morey screwed this up. Daryl Morey's the one to push the wrong buttons. Who do you think put that out to Stephen A. Smith? Stephen A. Smith openly admits Joshua Harris talks to him about hoops. Where do you think he got that information from? Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Joshua Harris. That's Joshua Harris feeding that to Stephen A., throwing Daryl Morey under the bus.